Hello, Virginia. Wow, what a great night. Great to be here in Norfolk, Virginia. Karen and I are incredibly honored to be with all of you today. Thank you. Thank you for coming out. We woke up this morning in Raleigh, North Carolina. We were in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And now to be here in Norfolk with all of you. It was just 15 days ago. 15 days ago with my wife at my side that I was humbled to accept the nomination to run and serve as the next Vice President of the United States of America. It's the greatest honor of my life. You know, I joined this campaign in a heartbeat. Joined it in a heartbeat the night that good man called us on the phone, 11 o'clock at night, late on a Wednesday night. I heard that familiar voice. I heard that invitation, and we said yes. We said yes because you've nominated a man for president. You've nominated a man for president who never quits, who never backs down. He's a fighter. He's a winner. And until just recently, it seemed like he was out there fighting all on his own. But now we are united as a party. We are united as a movement. And we're going to make Donald Trump the next president of the United States of America. You know, you can go ahead with that if you want. I like the start of that. You know, I've got to know this good man and his family. I've got to know him personally. And the only way I can say it is you get around him and you just figure this man just gets it. Right? He's a genuine article. I mean, Donald Trump is a doer in a game usually reserved for talkers. And when Donald Trump does his talking, he doesn't go tiptoeing around those thousands of rules of political correctness that are laid in the path of men and women that are out there trying to make a difference for America. He says it like it is, and he will make America great again. You know, I'm honored to be with you today. I'm honored to be with you today, but as the father of a United States Marine, as the son of a combat veteran, I'm especially honored to be here in Norfolk, where I know there are so many women and men who have worn the uniform of the United States of America. Would you just take a minute? Could you raise your hand if you were a member of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, and let us say thank you to you for your service one more time. We're so grateful. We're so grateful as we enjoy and exercise the democracy that you defended. We're so grateful to have you with us today. You know, Donald Trump really is, he is a genuine article. I'd say he's distinctly American. I mean, if you think about it. I mean, where else would someone like him, an independent spirit who speaks his mind, garner a following all across this country than here in the land of the free and the home of the brave? You know, the funny thing is the party in power seems helpless to figure out our nominee. And I'm, of course, referring to the media. Right? I mean, They just can't seem to figure it out. The Democrats and the mainstream media, they all keep telling each other that the usual methods will work. They keep telling each other that they think they've finally done him in. Then another issue comes up and they got him on this one. Then they turn on the television in the morning and Donald Trump is still standing and fighting for the American people stronger than ever before. You know, at the end of the day, their business is just to make news. But Donald Trump and you are going to make history when we make him the 45th president of the United States. And the choice just really couldn't be more clear. At a very moment when America's crying out for something new and different, crying out for a change in the failed status quo in Washington, D.C., the other party has nominated someone who's the most predictable of names with a stale agenda. Just incredible to think about it. I mean, the Democrats last week nominated someone a week ago tonight who just literally represents everything this country's tired of. So while we support our nominee, let's decide here and now in Norfolk, Virginia, that here in this state and here in this country, we will ensure that Hillary Clinton will never become president of the United States of America. Let's just decide. I mean, really. You know, the American people are tired of being told. We're tired of being told that this is as good as it gets. We're tired of being told, frankly, by leaders in both political parties that, you know, we'll finally get around to solving all those intractable problems while we pile a mountain range of debt on our children and our grandchildren. And as Ronald Reagan used to say so well, we're tired of being told that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them for ourselves. You know, Donald Trump understands the aspirations and the frustrations of the American people more than any other national leader that I've seen since that 40th president, Ronald Reagan. The choice could not be more clear. Americans can elect someone who literally personifies the failed establishment in Washington, D.C., or we can choose a leader. We can choose a leader who will work every day to make America great again. It is change versus the status quo. And my friends, here in Virginia, when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, the change will be huge. You know, the stakes are so high. The stakes are so high. You know, the failed policies of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton have weakened America's place in the world and stifled our nation's economy. Now, the president called a press conference the other day. Maybe you saw it. The President of the United States at a press conference said a few things about my new boss, and so I thought I might respond. You all right? President Obama said that Donald Trump was, quote, unfit to serve as president. He actually also said, and I quote, that Donald Trump was, quote, woefully unprepared to do this job. Now, I will give you that Barack Obama knows something about being woefully unprepared to be president of the United States. But you know what really bothered me is he said that Donald Trump lacked the judgment to sit in the highest office in the land. So maybe we ought to look at the record. Maybe we ought to look at what the judgment of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton has wrought, particularly on the world stage. 7.5 years of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton's policies have weakened America's place in the world, undeniably. Terrorist attacks at home and abroad, grim and heartbreaking scenes in allies, France just a few weeks ago. The last 24 hours may well have been a terrorist-inspired attack that claimed the life of an American woman in London. Attempted coup in an ally, and for all the world, it looks like the world is spinning apart. You know, history teaches that weakness arouses evil. And Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama's foreign policy of leading from behind, moving red lines, feigning resets with Russia, and the rise, rule, and reign of ISIS are a testament to that truth of history and to the failed judgment of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton on the world stage. I mean, it was Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton that made the decision, after hard-fought gains in Operation Iraqi Freedom, the difficult war that saw difficult days, but it was the American soldier who won stability and peace at the end of 2008 in Iraq. But when this administration came into office, their decision to withdraw all American forces without a status of forces agreement created a vacuum of power in which ISIS literally arose from the sand and compromise the territory that our soldiers had fought and bled and died to defend. A staggering failure of judgment. Another staggering failure of judgment was it was actually Hillary Clinton who instigated the president's disastrous agreement with the radical mullahs in Iran. You know, we're all still reeling this morning from finding out that this administration authorized $400 million worth of cash to be delivered to Iran on the same day that 4 American hostages were released. You know, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, let's understand this. They didn't just violate decades of American policy of not negotiating or capitulating to terrorists and terrorist-sponsoring regimes. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama essentially put a price tag on the head of every American traveling abroad. Now, Hillary said it was just old news. President Obama called it a coincidence. Well, let me make it very clear. In a Trump-Pence administration, we will not negotiate or compensate those who threaten our people. In a Trump-Pence administration, we won't pay ransom to terrorists. They will pay. And one more example of judgment while we're on the topic. It was Hillary Clinton who left Americans in harm's way in Benghazi, where 4 Americans fell. And then she said before the Congress, "What difference at this point does it make?" Well, let me just say, as a father, as a fellow American, anyone who said that, anyone who did that, should be disqualified from ever serving as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the United States of America. We can't have 4 more years apologizing to our enemies and abandoning our friends. America needs to be strong for the world to be safe, and Donald Trump will lead from strength on the world stage. You can count on it. Donald Trump will rebuild our military. He will stand with our troops and their families. He will support our veterans at home, and America's arsenal of democracy will be replenished once again. Ronald Reagan taught us that we can have peace through strength. And Donald Trump will bring strength again, American strength, to the world stage. Now, the record at home is even more dismal. Hillary Clinton essentially offers a 3rd Obama term. She championed Obamacare decades before when she invented Hillary Care. And I don't know if you saw that speech she gave a week ago. I watched most of it. I had about as hard a time staying awake as her husband. I followed most of it, and it wasn't just that it was long. It was that it was the same old, wasn't it? I mean, we're $19 trillion in debt. We've suffered through an administration that's been raising taxes, raising regulation, growing government, borrowing and spending, and trying to bail our way back to a growing economy. And then the next morning after Hillary Clinton's speech, we all wake up and find out. Official Washington, D.C. told us that our economy has grown in the last quarter at 1.2%, the slowest recovery since 1949. It's incredible. Now, they tell us in all their big speeches and out on the stump, they tell us that this economy is the best we can do. But Donald Trump and I know it's nowhere near the best we can do. It's just the best they can do. And when Donald Trump becomes president of the United States, we're going to cut taxes, roll back regulation, end the war on coal, and repeal Obamacare, lock, stock, and barrel, so this economy can thrive. I know what I'm talking about because I come from a state that works. You know, the state of Indiana. The state of Indiana about 10 years ago was a lot like Washington, D.C. is today, truthfully. I mean, we were kind of just one more state in a heartland of America, struggling under the weight of neglected infrastructure, unreformed schools, deficits and debt, and high taxes. And then Indiana made a decision to turn back to common sense conservative principles. Since I've been governor of the state of Indiana, we've balanced two budgets. And just a few weeks ago, we reported the largest budget surplus in Indiana's 200-year history. But it's not just about balance sheets. In Indiana, that was after we had the largest increase in education funding in Indiana history. $2.5 billion in infrastructure. We doubled the budget for the Veterans Affairs Administration in Indiana. And I cut taxes every single year for the last 4 years, and there's more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the state of Indiana. And that's exactly the kind of no-nonsense leadership that Donald Trump is going to bring to the White House. It's a little bit different record than my opponent on the other ticket, I'm told. Since I became governor, we've actually cut taxes by $3.5 billion for working families, small businesses, and family farms. I understand your former governor actually proposed about that amount in tax increases as soon as he took office. That he made efforts to invest in infrastructure that fell pretty far short. State of Indiana, we've invested $2.5 billion in the crossroads of America, even while we've balanced budgets. And since I've been governor of the state of Indiana, unemployment has been cut almost in half, and it doubled under Tim Kaine. He doubled the rate of unemployment when he was governor. And other than that, we got an awful lot in common. Tell you what, I am looking forward to that debate, because I'll lay the record of common sense conservative principles beside that record any day of the week. You know, this is a challenging time in the life of our nation, but no more so for those who wear the uniform here at home. Would you mind taking a moment to just show how much we appreciate men and women who serve on the thin blue line of law enforcement in this country, who are with us today? Thanks. You know, as the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the United States, I'll make you this promise. President Donald Trump will support our law enforcement officers at every level. He will provide the resources for them to protect our families, come home safe to theirs, and he will restore law and order to the cities and towns and streets of the United States of America. And as this election approaches, there's one other thing I want to mention. As this election approaches, every American should know that while we're filling the presidency for the next 4 years, nice. This election will elect a president for 4 years, but the next president could well make decisions that will define the Supreme Court of the United States for the next 40. We better think long and hard about that. Those of us who cherish the Constitution, cherish the liberties enshrined there, cherish the principles of limited government, we ought to think long and hard. I mean, elect Hillary Clinton, you better get used to more unelected judges using unaccountable power to take unconstitutional actions. So let me say this, my neighbors and friends here in Norfolk. For the sake of the rule of law, for the sake of the sanctity of human life, for the sake of our Second Amendment to the Constitution, for the sake of all of our God-given liberties enshrined in our founding documents, we must ensure that the next president making appointments to the Supreme Court of the United States of America is President Donald Trump. You know, this is a very challenging time in the life of our nation. Failed leadership of Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton has stifled our economy at home and reduced American power and influence in an increasingly dangerous world. It's also a challenging time for us as Americans because it seems like the focus today is too often on what divides us. It seems like there are so few great purposes that unite us as they once did in this country. And I would submit to each of you, as we take on the task of the next 97 some odd days, to carry this message of this movement on to victory, we would do well to talk with our neighbors and friends about this choice, but also talk about what binds us as Americans. I mean, the ideals of this country, I can tell you, are what animate our nominee. He's someone who, like me, his grandfather immigrated to this country just like mine. His father was a self-made man, built a business, just like my dad built a small business in a small town. But he stepped up and he, like me, was raised to believe in those timeless values of family and hard work and the belief that one generation to the next had an obligation to build on what they had been handed before. I've lived the American dream and seen it in my own life. I stand before you today humbled about the position my wife and I find ourselves in. And Donald Trump believes in the American dream. When he says we'll make America great again, he means, I know in his heart, we will make the American dream come alive for every American again. Those are the ideals that unite us, and there's one other that does as well, and I think we do well to remind ourselves of. It's hard for a Hoosier to suggest that Virginians ought to remember our history. I saw a map one time where Indiana was a part of Virginia. Truth of the matter is what happened on these wilderness shores here, not too far from where we stand, was drawn here because people believed in freedom, but they believed in a shining city on a hill. And they believed, as millions of Americans still do, that we are and shall ever be one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let's remember that. And those of you who share that conviction with me, I just remind yourselves in the next 97 days that as we work, as we talk to our neighbors and friends, as we engage in this wide open debate that is America, that's also to remember, as my family and I do from time to time, that what's been true for millennia is still true today in these challenging times. That if his people who are called by his name will humble themselves and pray, he'll still hear from heaven and he will heal our land. So to all the Virginians gathered here today, all the veterans who honor us by your presence, all those who have served in so many different ways, I believe we've come to another rendezvous with destiny. My wife Karen is the First Lady of Indiana, and she is the love of my life for 31 years. She's an artist, and her favorite poet is Robert Frost. And he's got a poem that talks about two roads diverged in a woods. He said, I took the one less traveled by, and it made all the difference. We're going to make a choice. We're going to make a choice in 97 days about whether here in America we're going to once again take the road less traveled by in the world, a road of limited government, of individual freedom, of personal responsibility. We're going to take the road paved with American ideals in our Constitution and Declaration, or whether we're going to continue to slide down the road where America will look more and more and more like the countries of Western Europe. Big government, high taxes, more regulation, less freedom. Well, I have faith. I have faith in God, and I have faith in the boundless capacity of the American people, and I know this November we will choose freedom, and we will choose leadership, and we will choose a president who will make America great again. But let me lay it out for you. Let me lay it out for you one more time, just in case you're taking notes. If you want a president who will protect this nation, stand with our troops, stand with our veterans, confront radical Islamic terrorism, and crush ISIS at its source. If you want a president who will restore law and order to this country and give our law enforcement community the resources and support that they need and deserve. If you want a president who will cut taxes, grow our economy, squeeze every nickel out of that bloated federal bureaucracy, and repeal Obamacare lock, stock, and barrel. If you want a president who will secure our borders, build a wall, and enforce the laws of this nation, and if you want a president who will upend the status quo in Washington, D.C., negotiate trade deals that will support American jobs, and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, we have but one choice. That man is ready. This team is ready. This movement is ready. And America is ready. Let's go make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America, and we will make America great again. Build a wall and enforce the laws of this nation. And if you want a president who will upend the status quo in Washington, D.C., negotiate trade deals that will support American jobs, and uphold the Constitution of the United States of America, we have but one choice. That man is ready. This team is ready. This movement is ready. And America is ready. Let's go make Donald Trump the 45th President of the United States of America, and we will make America great again.
back there somewhere.